things that they've got coming up this year, because they just had a very busy toy fair where they announced a lot of things, and they've also got a product line we're going to talk about in particular. So I'll start here.
Yeah, hey there, I'm Mike Bushnell. I'm product management lead for Funko Digital.
Yay!
Go ahead.
I'm Greg Juby. I am art director at the Coalition. I don't work at Funko. I'm here to talk about Gears Pop, the new Funko Gears game.
My name is Sully. I work for the marketing team at Funko. You guys might know me from our social media channels.
Yay! Yes.
I like
Y'all
that.
are on Twitter and you're talking back and forth. You're talking with Sully, that's for sure. Lots of good stuff going on Instagram and Twitter, and you guys have really. I want to talk about that just in general. You guys have really embraced from the beginning social media as being a place to really talk to everybody that loves your stuff. But you've got your blog, you've got your shows, you've got your podcast. So tell me about how that in-house you're looking at ways to try to connect with all of these wonderful people more and more.
Yeah, it's all about the fanatics. We have the best fans in the world, and we love to communicate with them, and we love to listen to them. I mean, that's indicated by our product lines, our licenses that we get. So any and every way that we can engage with people, we do. And like you mentioned, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have our weekly podcast, the Funko Funcast. We do live stream gaming on Wednesday afternoons. We might not be good at the games, but we try it anyway. And of course, we love to give out prizes to reward our fans for engaging with us all the time. And we're always reaching out, like we've got the app that we'll talk about in a minute, asking people to give us their feedback so we can continue to make better products, stronger products for our fans.
So we'll talk about that just a little bit, because you know, I was up at Everett. We at SYFY did a really great piece where we were in the retail space, but then we went up into the inner sanctum where we got to see all the designers and all of the very, very cool things that I walked around, and I was like, this is like a Funko fan's dream. Just their desks. It's like stacked 10 high of all of the ones they've designed or their favorites, and you're just like, yay, I'm gonna take this home with me. But you guys you're always trying to get the pulse and the beat of what are we gonna make? What license do we chase? What do we go after? You know, if you just look at a social media feed talking to you guys, it's what, make this and make that. And tell me again, you know, as you've honed and figured out what to chase, what to go after, what have been the real key indicators of your interaction with fans that have allowed you guys to go, you know what, maybe that's one we really need to chase, let's go look for that?
We do a weekly Q&A on Tuesdays on Twitter, and it's an open opportunity for fans to ask us anything. And while we may not be able to speak to a particular license, we do keep an ongoing list every week of the things that people ask for. And the more it gets asked for, the more we raise it up the flagpole to the decision makers and say, look, everyone is screaming for, I can't say a license or people would flip out.
They'll lose their minds,
so you listen to the fans.
Insert X.
Exactly. Listen to the fans, and hopefully we can go and we can get that license and we can make it happen. One thing we do like to tell people is it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes these license negotiations take quite a while, so ask for it, keep asking for it. We'll go and we'll try. Maybe a year, but we'll try.
So let's tie that into a very specific one we're going to talk about today, which is the Gears of War Pops and getting that license. So tell me about where that came from, if it was spurred from you guys just knowing pulse-wise that this is really a property that you want to do design-wise, you can do some really wonderful things with it, or if it was really also high on the list of what your fans were looking for.
We've done Gears, we've done a line before, and that was really well received by gaming fans for sure. But this time around, Gears has got some amazing things coming this year, and we're working with them on a game. So along with the game came some product as well. But Greg can tell us a lot more about what's going to happen with Gears Pop.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we actually brought the idea for the game to them. We started with, at the Coalition, we have a thing called a Free Friday. So every month or so, we have a free day where we can do whatever we want. And on my team, the idea, Tyler Bielman, the design director, came up with an idea. He said, why don't we make a mobile game, a Gears mobile game? And so in just a couple days, we had a little mock-up, and then Rod Ferguson, the studio head, looked at it and said, we should talk to Funko. We should talk to Funko about this. So we presented it to these guys, and instantly it was like, let's do this. It was really cool.
So let's talk a little bit about, you know, you guys have expanded. You guys you're not afraid to say, hey, you know, we don't just live in this specific vinyl space. You guys have leaned on technology, you've experimented with a lot of things. So when someone comes to you with a game idea, infrastructure-wise, you know, were you like, are we ready to do this? Had you been setting up for that? Was it an opportunity that was just like, this was the right thing to do?
I think we're always trying new things. We're not scared to try new things, which is good. Like you say, we don't want to put everything into pop. We have many, many lines to choose from, and we are getting now more into the digital space. In addition to Gears Pop, we've got our app we're going to talk about a little bit as well. Really trying to get in. Our fans are in the digital space as well, so we want to be there, just like we are with our social channels. Every opportunity to engage, we want to do that again.
So with Gears, what's the game gonna be? What is it? You know, when does it come? When does it launch? Just give us whatever you can tease us about. We'd love to hear, just so we can be ready.
Well, it's being soft launch tested right now in some territories, so it's not available globally. It's not available here yet. It is coming soon, and you can follow the progress at Gears Pop.
Good.
If you want to get more information. Did I do that right? Yeah. Thanks. And there are, you can sneak videos on the web, like you can see things happening, but it's a much more fun, lighthearted version of Gears of War. So, you know, people who are familiar with Gears of War know it's an over-the-top, brutal, violent thing, and Funko is kind of a different vibe from that.
Yeah,
just a little.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and we actually leaned right into that. You know, we made it a fun experience. And for everybody, not just people who are looking for like a more mature sort of game.
Speaking of videos, I think we have one.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we have one, Mr. Video Guy? I think we have a group of very sold people on that already. Just in terms of, will the look continue to kind of use the Funko design through the entire kind of reimagining of this, or is it just the playable characters that will, you know, kind of stick with the Funko design?
It's the whole thing. So we've got kind of a hybrid Gears Funko environment that they're in. It's based on locations in the Gears games, but the whole thing is Funko-fied. And we actually had to invent new pops that didn't exist as the ones that these guys had made already.
Really?
That was a really interesting thing to have to do, because I think it was probably the first time pops had been designed outside of Funko.
Yeah.
So we had a process where we were working with the designers at Funko, and we had to get it right. We had to figure out how to translate Gears characters into pops. And I think they were a little nervous at first, but the first few that came through, they were like, oh, wow, this is great. And it just became really smooth. And we've made something like, I don't know, 50 of them now?
Wow.
Something like that.
I didn't even know it was that many.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah, and one of them, General Rom, who was up on the hill in that video just now, is a Comic-Con exclusive over at the Funko booth. Like that's just coming out right now. Yeah.
I love Synergy. Synergy's good. All right, let's talk about the app that we've alluded to already. You know, when you are in such a digital space with your fandom, and you're always looking for ways to kind of create a stronger tether with them.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts in-house about what an app would look like for you guys, and what you needed it to do, and what you were maybe falling short in some other sectors of the digital space that you wanted to be able to bring to the fans with your own app?
Yeah, so there were actually a number of different applications, websites, things that our fans were already using.
Yeah.
So from a foundational perspective, we wanted to go out there, look at what they were already using, interview a few fans, do some surveys online, get general feedback about what they're using, how they're using it, so that we could come up with a plan for what to go through the door with. You know, there's one major difference when it comes to developing digital products as compared to the physical products that Funko is so well known for, and that's that we can iterate, right? We can grow, we can continue to listen to what the fans are asking for, what their experiences are, and we can grow the app in response to that. And so from that perspective for us, it was really important to get through the door as fast as possible with those foundations set, taking all of that user feedback into consideration, and then continuing to get that live feedback based on the actual app that we had gone through the door with.
Okay. So, you know, when people were saying, hey, you know, I want to know, people were really interested in price guides? Were they really interested in being able to like get extra special things, you know, that you wouldn't get elsewhere? What were the kind of big asks? And what were the things that you also knew, hey, if we could provide this, this would be an extra special thing for real, true fans of our products?
Yeah, so I think that there were a few key things that we wanted to make sure that we had in this app. One of them is being able to find the product. You know, Funko's got a catalog of over 17,000 unique items that we've made over the 20 years that we've existed as a company.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a tricky thing to go through if you're searching for terms and maybe coming up with a complex combination of product lines, brands, character names. How do you make sure that those searches are working, and how do you continue to take feedback based on what people are searching on? So search, find the product, discover other ways to browse the product, track your collection, track your wish list, share that out. Those are some of the things that are most important, what the fans are really telling us about right now. And then in addition to that, of course, there is what is the secondary market value of this collection?
Right, yeah.
You know, one of the magic aspects of Funko as a company is that you can go out there, you can spend $8, spend $10, and now you're holding something in your hand that you could go walk across the street or walk across the aisle and say, hey, do you want this for $100? And,
it's true.
Somebody might say yes.
Yeah.
So some of that adds to keeping that excitement going, also informing about our new products, and then down the line, you know, we want to expand into making sure that customers can also source those products. So buying those products, finding those products online with our various partner retailers or on our own direct-to-consumer e-commerce websites. You know, I can say that there's a lot of thinking that is going on at Funko HQ in response to all of the great feedback that we've gotten from the Funko community after the launch. And so we are very heads down right now looking at what's the next few weeks of the roadmap, what's the next few months of the roadmap, because again, we focused on foundations so that we can take this somewhere that no app in this space has really gone before.
That's really cool. So, you know, I know in the last year you guys have also started having your retail exclusives that are available on your site, which is something that you guys hadn't been doing. If you were to go to the Everett store, you guys would be able to see the retail exclusives there. But now you guys have made it so that there's kind of an event when you go, we're selling it this time, here's what it's going to be. Is there an integration with the app with that? Or just tell me a little bit more about, you know, being able to offer that as an extra kind of, especially for the collector base that really loves being able to get the things that are maybe something that you couldn't get at a normal, you know, a Target or a Walmart or such. What was the impetus for that? And just saying, hey, maybe we should be the retailer for these things and not going to secondary market, and what you were hearing from people that you'd want to make was worth for them to chase you guys on the site and do those purchases.
Yeah, the Funko Shop exclusives have been around for a couple of years now, but we've definitely ramped up the number of products that we've made and the depth of the licenses that we look at. A lot of times there's a mainline license that you can get product for, then we'll have a couple of different ones on our site, like we recently did Agent J in a different format for Men in Black. And I don't think right out of the gate we're going to have any integration with the app for that. But again, listening to fans, this is definitely something that we want and will probably include in the future. Now, and to piggyback on what Mike was saying, I don't think you said this, but you're a big fan.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
been collecting for a while. So have I. And there are many team members that have worked on the app that are fans and have been for a while. So even though we are definitely asking external fans, internally we're having a lot of discussions on what do we want to see, you know, what have we used in the past, what have we done, what would make for the best experience,
and how do we take that feedback to the next step, right? So it's like maybe someone's telling us this isn't working, I want to improve on that, and how do we combine those two things together into something that folks hadn't really been thinking about, just based on not really knowing the ways that that technology can work to solve the problems or the pain points that they're feeling. You know, how can we go from scanning a single barcode to having someone be able to take a picture of their entire collection up on a wall and have that intake and become their catalog representation within our application, right?
Yeah.
So those are the types of things that we're trying to grow towards, and it's definitely driven from a very passionate, a very caring, and you know, an internal collector focus from the Funko digital team and how we're trying to build these products.
You know, for years, people have created their own outside communities of where you know, you can trade, you can buy, you can sell, and that's great because that's, you know, allowing the fandom to take your products and make their own life with them. But with the app, you know, you now can be thinking about, hey, well, we could bring some of that back in house, or was that not important for you guys? Because you want people to be able to enjoy your products in ways that their community has done it, but I'm sure bringing some things in-house too is important for you guys as well.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's like foundation, right? We're coming from a place where Funko was kind of in a Ready Player One situation where we were towering canisters, one on top of the other, one on top of the other, and at some point, if we had too much stuff going on, everything could come tumbling down.
Right.
Right? And so, in order to get to those types of things like we're talking about now, we had to strip it down. We had to focus on getting that concrete poured, on getting the doors in place, making sure that everything was working properly. And then we're gonna start adding those bells and whistles. We're gonna get the elevators in there. We're gonna get the fancy stained glass. You know, all of the things that make this a very unique experience for consumers. That's where we're gonna be going. And the feedback that we get will help us to focus on how do we prioritize. Do we do the windows now, or do we make automatic doors? Do we make automatic blinds? Whatever it is, that just to get us away from that kind of Ready Player One dystopia that we've had in the digital world for a little bit.
Well, let's take there's a video that shows a little bit about what people can see and experience. So let's take a look at that now.
Everybody's downloading it now.
I totally want that. Only just because I myself will confess of how much time I've sat and went to outside fan sites looking at it.
Well, you're not the only one, right? Like, since we launched basically 4 or 5 days ago, you know, we've seen hundreds of thousands of individual people all over the world engaging with this app. We've seen millions and millions and millions of individual events, millions of screen views across all of the applications, and we've seen roughly 5 million products added to individual collections.
Oh my God.
We've seen roughly 3 million products added to wish lists. So, you know, people are using it. It's wonderful to see.
That must be really exciting.
Dashboard.
Exactly. You're like, will they come? Oh, yes, they will. They've come in droves, which is exciting.
That's what Funko really brings for us.
Yeah, which is really wonderful. You know, you've got. You know, when you think about the depth and breadth of how far back your products go, and then, you know, you guys have not slowed down in any kind of way. And you've already started the year, as always, very, very busy. You had New York Toy Fair, which is, for those that don't know, is always the industry unveiling of what's going to be coming for the rest of the retail year in all spectrums. You know, toys, traditional kids toys all the way up to the collector base, to urban toys, to really specialty collectible adult kind of toys with NECA and other companies like that. But you guys, you know, are internationally at these toy fairs, and then you've got the big New York one, and you guys released an amazing array of what's going to be coming for the rest of this year. And so you already, you know, kind of blew up the fan base showing things that they've been waiting for a long time. Let's go through a couple of the things that you were most excited to be able to finally announce this year, that, you know, because as you said, some of these licenses take a very long time.
Right.
to crack and say, please let us do this. You know, fans think just asking, and a lot of them asking makes the magic of it suddenly appearing. And no, you're doing a ton of work behind the scenes to make that happen. So tell me about what were some of the really exciting in-house going, oh, I can't wait till we tell fans that this is finally here.
Yeah, Toy Fair was huge for us. We had over 200 individual products that were revealed, over 60-something reveals.
Yeah.
That one Friday, we did one every 15 minutes for like 14 hours.
Yes.
Just blowing people's minds.
And wallets.
Oh, well, that comes soon.
Yeah, very soon.
The big one that came out of our Q&A, and pretty much every single post we've ever done in social, right below it, you could scroll down and someone would scream, "The Office."
I know. Yay!
Yeah, there it is. It's happening. You know, we just revealed, we started doing Pokemon at the end of last year, and we've got more of those coming. But Toy Fair, we also revealed we're doing Sanford and Son.
Yes.
And BTS.
Cheers.
And Cheers.
You're doing Community. That's a great one.
Post Malone.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good one. We're going back and doing more Ghostbusters, which
Yes.
That's town.
I'm buying all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the new a new line for us as well, the new Pop Town,
Yes.
Which is a 2-pack that will have a building, iconic building from a film or TV show or whatever, and a pop. So like we have a Ghostbusters one that will feature the firehouse with a pop, and retail on those is like under $30, I think.
Which is great. Tell me about scale. You know, you guys have your core pop size, but then you've made larger size ones, and now that you're being able to kind of create environments in some kind of ways where people can build these towns, as you said, what was the feedback in terms of like what's too big, what's the right size, in scale? What do we want to do to make sure that people can kind of build these little dioramas and build them out, but not make it feel too expansive for shelf size and things like that?
Really, our fans are open to so many different form factors. It depends on the individual fan, and we want to make sure we can deliver on all sizes. I mean, we've got everything from pint-sized heroes, it's in the name of the thing, all the way up to 10-inch pops that we've been selling over the last couple years. And I think, like you alluded to, there's a lot of people that are into toy photography and wanting to share off their collections, and something like Pop Town gives it a whole new depth, where now you've got the building in the background with your figures in the front in all shapes and sizes.
Are you ever going to sell the big giant ones that you have at your office?
Those are custom order. Yeah.
Yeah,
We might be able to
statues.
help you with something, but yeah, we get people that ask about that all the time. They want them for their front lawn. You know.
Do they really? You know, because if you do go, if you go to the booth and you always see the uber huge large ones that they bring in, if you go to their retail space over in Everett, they have an entire sections that are dioramaed out with those figures, Hulkbuster, and you've had all kinds of. You switch them out. Godzilla is there, which is great. And so, have you ever thought about, hey, if people are asking about doing these, there's a price tag for everything in the world. Have you guys ever really thought about doing that for a consumer base?
I personally have thought about it. I don't know internally how far any of those discussions have got, but
there's some constraints that we face on the production side for that scale.
Yeah. I also want to ask, do you have like a fire sale ever? Because you guys keep making them, right? and if you do know, in Everett, you guys took over an old community college, so that you do have a really nice ability to have storage and such. But, you know, they're really big. And at some point, you know, you just figure, do you just get rid of them internally, or do you just keep them in the Indiana Jones style warehouse of old pops?
It's that exact warehouse, actually. We took that over. So we keep track of everything in there, but there are definitely some big pop statues in there now.
I feel like that's a short film somewhere down the line where you guys just make this scary warehouse with all of the pops that have gone to retire.
Our video guys here, take notes.
Yeah, you remove the wrong one, and the large, you know, pop style boulder comes
So many
for you.
stories, so many visuals. Just going down the line, you know, because you all are our fans, what are your own personal collection things that, you know, the company's made and you went, yoink, I need to have those? We'll start here.
Yeah, so like Sully mentioned, I've been collecting since around 2011, 2012. And so I have a very wide collection of Freddy Funko Wacky Wobblers. There's actually, like, for me, working at Funko, as we see the pops come through the door and we see things come and go, I mean, I do have a large collection of pops, don't get me wrong. But where my heart really is right now is around the things that got us to where we are today as a company.
Yeah.
So I like to go back, I like to unearth things, I like to touch our history, and then leverage the emotional feeling that I get from those things to kind of figure out what I think our next step should
Do
be.
you have a Bob's Big Boy, an early one?
Well, I have a Freddy Funko Bob's Big Boy.
Nice.
And then I have a couple Big Boy Pops. And then in the Pop side of things, I've been very interested in the 10-inch molds. That's kind of my thing lately is
Nice.
collect all, gotta have all those 10-inch Pops.
His desk is proof.
Yes.
So is it just now Gears of War for you, or did you have your own that have?
Well, I am
made it?
partial to the Gears of War ones. I have them
course.
all over my desk.
Nice.
But we have them in every room of our house. My daughters are over there, and they have a big stack in their rooms.
Enabled, yay.
My personal favorite is Bob Ross.
I love the
nice.
Bob Ross ones. How many of you guys have seen the Bob Ross ones? They're so great. Yeah, see?
Oh, good.
He's perennial.
She has two. But three.
Three.
Excellent.
Nice. That's what we like.
Bob
to see.
Ross just stood up in the crowd.
Deadpool Ross
Deadpool
back there.
Bob Ross.
Full Bob Ross.
Not the Bob Ross.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And Sully.
I am partial to Sully from Monsters, Inc. So I have
Nice.
a large collection. Thank God I started collecting when Funkos first started making them. Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. I'm mostly a Pop guy, but I collect all the lines. I mean, even before coming on board, if it had the Funko name on there, I happily snatched it up immediately and added it to my collection.
Oh, that's nice. So you guys probably know better than anybody because I look at all the pictures of the fandom's personal collections, and they literally could build walls with the products.
They do.
So what are some of the most original things that you guys have seen about people how they've decided to portray or have integrated into their homes their collections?
We actually do a weekly contest, if you will, called Fanatic of the Week.
The week, right.
Yeah, every Friday we go and try to pick a new one. We have an application online where any fan can apply. They just answer a few questions and submit photos of their collection. And I get to go through those and look at them, and it is amazing to see what people do. I'm often embarrassed that my collection is not as beautiful as theirs. It takes over their entire homes, every room, and they really take time to carefully place each piece.
Yes.
They'll have a favorite fandom all on one shelf, or maybe they have all their Pops in a wall, like you said, and they take their photos in front of it. And just to see the look on their faces is amazing too. But we share those, and we give them a prize for entering something very unique and special just for them.
Yeah, have you created something in particular, that you either cycle through, or is there just when you become a fan of Funko Fanatic of the Week that this is the thing that you get?
There's several versions of that. We have a Collector of the Month individual
Right.
Pop only for the Collector of the Month. And then we have a social media Freddy that our team gives out, only available from us in those prizes or at these cons. And we give the winner each week a social media Freddy and a prototype. So they get one of those very, very limited choice pieces from the production that they get to keep and brag about.
Life goals, guys. Life goals. And what is is there a favorite thing that you've seen somebody do that you're just like, oh my God?
I mean, my mind kind of goes to two places. One of them is when you see those really custom built, unique to the collection, the shelving and the lighting and everything that supports it is just sort of adding to the ambiance of the passion that individual feels for the products they're collecting. And then the secondary thing is when somebody just has things that are embedded into their daily life outside of the scope of their shelved collection.
Yes.
A little surprise and delight, and I think that if you guys take some time, go down to Funko HQ, you look around how we've built that space, we've really leaned into that surprise and delight and how we just sort of nestle little things into that experience to give it a real nuance.
I second that because honestly, even with product lines that you may not personally want to add to your own collection, just seeing how that you guys staged everything and going through and all of the different things that you may not have been aware of, because again, you guys have a pretty big volume of products. Sometimes I didn't know that they made that. It's like, it's a wonderland of seeing all of that. And I'm a Harry Potter fan, so the Harry Potter section that you guys had was really amazing.
Well, I challenge anyone in the audience who hasn't yet found it to go down there and locate the life-size Ant-Man that is located in the Marvel
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
section.
I know where that is.
Or the Hidden
It's
Crowns.
amazing.
Yeah.
We also have Hidden Crowns as our icon.
Yes.
Embedded throughout the building in different little areas, artistically placed.
Now, have you guys talked in-house? I mean, because that retail space is so, it's just so impressive. But again, you guys have created so many different lines and stuff. What's the in-house conversation about how often you want to change them out? Like, kind of revitalizing things that you feel like doing? Or you're just like, this is a lot of work and it's pretty awesome as it is. We leave it there for a long time.
I don't know that there's a particular cadence to how often we'll change things up, but since the opening, we have added the Wetmore Forest area, which was a classroom before, and now is this completely immersive experience where you're like in a jungle setting.
Yes.
We've refurbished our opening area with all of our newest exclusives and all of our Freddy Funko items. But we're busy too with planning for another big announcement that we just made, and that we'll have an LA store soon.
Yes.
So a lot of the planning, I think, is headed towards that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you guys, in that announcement, I wasn't aware of whether you announced exactly where it was going to be, so where's it at?
LA, I think we've hinted at what might be around us, but haven't given an exact address yet.
Very exciting.
But that's coming soon, because I'm sure just like when we opened the HQ in Everett, we had people flying from all over the country.
Well, that was a
to be part
huge
of it.
day, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, the lines, and it was like people's vacation was to come and
for
see you
sure.
guys open up, which is pretty amazing.
It was an amazing day, yeah. It was, and luckily the weather cooperated, but hopefully we'll have something similar to that when the LA store kicks off, and I know people will come from everywhere for it.
Are you hoping for a 2019 launch for that, or is that going to take a little bit longer?
I believe the word is hopefully by Halloween.
that's-
Hopefully.
Yeah, so
That's good.
you never know what's going to happen. I would hate for anybody to buy airfare and be ready to go until we give a date. You know?
That's exciting. My poor wallet just winced again, but it's ready to go. So I wanted to ask a couple things too. I'm a huge Henson fan, and you guys announced this year that you guys are going to do a Jim Henson Pop.
Yeah.
So you guys have done before in the past licenses from Henson, but tell me about when you've made some really wonderful choices, like to do a Bob Ross piece based on people that have made a deep impact into pop culture. So tell me about when the Jim decision came to mind for you guys, and how easy or difficult, or if you had to wait a long time to be able to get the yes for that.
I'm not sure on that particular one. We have a licensing team that goes after things. I know I interviewed Brian Mariotti, our CEO, years back for our podcast, and one of the things he said was early on when Funko got to gain popularity, he would have to go knock on doors and ask people, would you let us do pops or figures?
Yep.
And now it's a lot more of them coming to us. So I don't know, in this particular scenario, maybe it was Jim Henson's family that came to us and asked about it, or maybe it was something that like Brian was really into and said, let's make that happen, and went and got it.
Well, that's coming in my house really soon as you guys have that together. I want to ask too, you know, that you've had some really wonderful integrations with really well-known brands like Pez, and being able, you know, Pez collectors, that's old school collecting, man. I have many a friend that has just had their old school Pez collections from their childhood that they've kept up, and you guys have really been able to integrate your design into that. How were you worried that, you know, old school fans would go, oh, I like my Pez stuff, I don't know if I want to mix the two, because it's done so well and you've been able to really just blow up with the designs for that?
I don't know. I know that a lot of the older fans, I mean, maybe Mike can speak to this too, because you collect many of the older lines, but a lot of people came from Pez to Pop, because Brian, our CEO, was a big Pez fan, and I know that's something he wanted to do for a long time. So, and there were many fans with him, so it was received very well. And I know we've revealed quite a few over the last year. We've got more on the way. We just announced the NFL line of Pop Pez at Toy Fair. I know people are very excited about that, and I think it's been so well received. We're going to see it for a long, long time.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about how we go through the door with something like Pez, you know, I think that there's definitely a lot of internal thinking that we go through. There's a lot of discussion that occurs, but at the end of the day, we're coming from the same place as the collector when we're making those things. And so there is a little bit of an act of faith on our side that if we try to angle what we're doing towards those roots, that it'll kind of pull people out of the woodwork a little bit and maybe expand our audience back into folks that are general collectors or Pez collectors, and now they can get into the Funko world and discover the delight of our brand as well.
So tell me, you know, obviously you guys have the booth here and you have your exclusives. Anything that has been surprising you that's just flown off the shelves in this particular this particular con, or is there anything that you know you do also want to tell collectors that's not around anymore? It went out, it's gone, it's done.
we're always surprised at what goes first and what goes last each time. You know, we all try to predict in listening to fans and what they want, but you never know. And this like every other one, every day's different.
Yeah.
You know, Harry Potter definitely flies off the shelves every day, but some products go out earlier than others on each day. I always like that when we do this con, we focus on items that have green in them.
Yes,
If
I
we
love
can.
that.
So we got
Yeah.
really cool things like the Pillsbury Doughboy holding the Shamrock Cookie, and the Harry Potter 3-pack where they're all dressed in their green face paint.
Face paint, which is great.
Yeah, it's a good selection. It's a good variety, and then I always like to joke when we work at the booths, people will come up and there's many who are like, "What's with these pop things?" They're not into it, and then 5 minutes later they're, "Oh, you make Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am in. Tell me about every Harry Potter you've ever made." So there's something for everyone, you know. And I'm sure there's Gears of War fans that maybe didn't know much about pop before.
Yeah.
And then when we started making pop, that was their intro into the pop world.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that exact thing. Like,
How about
I
your
don't know.
team?
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Marcus Phoenix. Cool.
Sold.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about that with your team. You know, gamers are in the game world. Of course, they have lots of collectibles and things, but they're usually specialized for the gaming world. How much of your team was Funko proficient, and how much has this process been an indoctrination into the new fandom for them?
Well, I think for us at the Coalition, like people making Gears of War, everybody has Funkos on their Pops on their desk, right?
Nice.
The fans are kind of polarized, right? Like you
Yeah.
have the hardcore that are like, meh. And
Yes.
then, but so many of them love the stuff, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of right down the middle. And the game is really for the latter group.
Yes.
Yeah, we're aiming straight at them, and we understand that there's a lot of the hardcore Gears fans that are going to say, yeah, I don't know, but maybe they'll still play anyway. Who knows?
With the game and just to get people excited about the play for it, will it be a game where there'll be levels of you guys upgrading it regularly so that there are new pieces to the game that will come out quarterly or things like that? What's your investment in terms of trying to make sure that you are giving them goals, but then you are giving them some new things to maybe look forward to down the pike?
It's very much a live game, so
Okay.
you'll be playing it, you'll be unlocking more and more pops in it, and it really, I think, kind of plays off the collectability of the physical pops. You know, that was really a touch point for us. So, and even when you buy a physical Gears Pop toy,
Yeah.
You'll be able to unlock that character in the game.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's kind of
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's become such a huge thing with the integration between getting a physical toy or a physical representation of something to be able to have that unlock inside the world. Is
Yeah.
there an idea of rolling out characters that we'll just see in the game into the retail space, like obviously in waves, or what are you guys thinking about creating the synergy between falling in love with the game world and then vice versa, being able to have it in your hand and then have it on your desk?
It's already happening. I think there's already some coming out. There's, like I mentioned, General Rom was first done
Right.
for the game, and based on the one that's in the game, and there's other characters in the lineup. I don't remember which ones have been announced, though, or not. The Boomer, there's a big character in Gears of War called the Boomer.
Yeah.
And he's coming out soon. It's been announced at New York Toy Fair.
Good.
A couple others.
I have to err on the side of caution. I've seen things.
Right.
And if I say something, I may not be up here again.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's where my head is
This
at.
man
That's
has
always-
seen
That's
things.
the hazard
seen
of your
things,
job, right?
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
the going, wait, that's the in-house brain, and then versus the speaking of
I don't
public
want to
brain.
see things because I'll spill the beans. So I try to stay out of it until there's a physical product in front of me.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest thing that you end up hearing, just so that we can answer the question here, because obviously you are always vetting the questions that come through, but what do you see as the kind of the kind of universal Funko fan question that comes through that you can answer and let people know as they head back to either making purchases on the floor or just know as they move away from Emerald City Comicon?
I think I would guide people back to the app. I mean, there's a big education that comes into play when you're learning to collect Funko. I know that sounds weird,
No,
but
not
when I
at all.
first got into it, I didn't know what the stickers meant and why some were more limited than others, and
Chases and things like that, all of
what's
that,
the chase
right.
all about?
Yeah,
You know,
what's the chase?
that's
What's
why our
block?
community is so good. They help each other, but the app is going to help with that as well, I think. And that you go to the booth or you go to one of these other booths and you go, "What is that?" And now you can fire it up on your phone if you can get a connection and
Yeah.
look through and see when that came out or what it's all about or why was it limited. You know, I hear those questions constantly in our booth, and I know there's plenty that go unasked much less unanswered. Again, our community is good about helping each other, but I think the app is going to help a lot with that as well.
Yeah, I would also say that just before we came out here, someone was asking what are the exclusive products that you have at Emerald City Comicon.
Yeah.
I was able to just take out the app, scroll up and say, these are the 45 different products that we have. Click in on a few of them, see them close up, see the details around them. Some of them might still be available to shared retailers if you weren't able to get them here at the con. All of that comes through in the app, so it's very helpful there.
As you guys move forward, are there plans to incentivize, so if you do download the app, almost kind of like your club, where if you have the app, then you'll get either information earlier or you may have access to some things. Is that part of the kind of special club experience that the app's going to give it at some point?
You're looking at me.
Well, I mean,
they're looking like they can't answer something, which means I've hit on something good.
We've discussed a lot of different ways to incentivize both downloads and engagement on the application.
Yeah.
But I can just say that generally the Fanatic community is going to have many benefits from leveraging the app, whether it's the features of the app or additional opportunities that are offered from the company. We're thinking about a lot of different ways to surprise and delight the fan base that actually does engage with the application.
And I'll piggyback on that in saying for people that are interested in more information, going back to our social channels, we do try very hard to make sure that anytime there's news, information on new product lines, even down to the hours the store is open, we put that on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We have lives on all of our channels. Again, we do the live game streams, the Funcast, our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is a fantastic way to see product. You know, we do like 360 visuals, close-ups. You know, how often do you see the back of a pop when you're walking around a show floor? And sometimes that's a selling point for someone.
Absolutely.
So all of those channels, we try to put out information and engage with people on a regular basis. That's a great way to stay in tune with the products.
Well, guys, we're super excited to be able to hear that we get to interact and find out more about the great things coming that we're going to want in our houses. The app is available on both Android and on iPhone now, right?
Correct.
So you guys, like, as soon as you get a good cell signal, because God knows those are con problems.
Just search Funko in either store.
Download it, be able to get your information on that. But as always, thank you for bringing all these wonderful things that mean something to all of us as collectors. Being able to feed the beast, as we're all the Funko beasts out here, and be able to get more and more fun stuff. Very much excited about what the Gears of War game is going to be. And guys, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
And make sure you hang around here. Again, hashtag it's ECCC, and it's a fan thing, because up next we've got Pia Guerra, who is going to be doing a SYFY Wire behind the panel. We love those.